First, though, I want your thoughts on the Jamie Jerk Rice row. If you've missed this controversy, let me just explain. Labour frontbencher MP Dawn Butler slammed Jamie Oliver this week for launching his own brand of Caribbean jerk rice. Dawn, who was born in East London to Jamaican immigrant parents, has tweeted, "I'm just wondering, do you know what Jamaican jerk actually is? It's not just a word you put before stuff to sell products. Your jerk rice is not okay. This appropriation from Jamaica needs to stop." Well, Caribbean chef and television presenter Rusty Lee has said this week Dawn Butler was absolutely right to criticise Jamie Oliver.
Jerk chicken and jerk pork and jerk fish and jerk beef originates from Jamaica. Right. And the people who have this, it's their thing. It's an insult. It is an insult because jerk is from the Caribbean. And as much as I love Jamie, the point is, it's getting onto like a bandwagon to say it's a Caribbean. It's taken away from us.
Rusty Lee there. Well, I'm very interested to hear from you. Whether it's white people wearing dreadlocks or perhaps having henna tattoos. It feels in recent times as if we're never too far away from another argument about so-called cultural appropriation. But I want to know where you stand on this latest controversy. Do you think it's acceptable for Jamie Oliver to sell his own Caribbean jerk rice? 08081 00 8800, that's the number. Sue runs Curly Sue's Kitchen. Her parents are Jamaican. She definitely has a view on this. Let's hear from her. Good morning to you, Sue.
Good morning.
Good morning. So do you think it's okay for Jamie Oliver to sell Caribbean jerk rice?
Well, first of all, there's no such thing as jerk rice, but recipes evolve and you can create things. So I think if you're going to have a jerk rice, it should say something like inspired by Jamaican jerk and be respectful of the recipe, because the ingredients he's used, for example, he's used jalapeno peppers. It doesn't have jalapeno peppers in jerk, it has Scotch bonnet peppers. So at least have the right ingredients to call it jerk. It's like making a cup of tea and using coffee. You just can't do that.
So is this offensive?
It is, because it's not being respectful. Because if I'm going to create a dish, I'm not Mexican, but if I'm going to create a dish, I'll be respectful of the people who it's important to. If it's important to enough people, you have to be respectful to it. So I don't think you can just create something and say it is so. You can say it's inspired by, that's fine, but don't say it is when it's not.
But I once had a roast dinner in Spain and they fried the roast potatoes in a frying pan. I mean, that's not how you cook roast potatoes, is it?
Well, there you go.
But I didn't turn around and say, how dare you fry roast potatoes? That's not how you cook roast potatoes for a Sunday roast. You must do them in the oven in a different way. You know, does it really matter?
It does matter, because if it's important to enough people, I think it does matter. Also, if they started to distribute them through supermarkets in the UK and say they're roast potatoes that have been fried in whatever, I think you would find it a bit annoying, because you think, well, you don't fry a roast, do you? So how are they calling it something when it's not?
But who says who has the right over what jerk is?
The people who it's important to and the people whose country it comes from. It's a bit like, say, for example, I invented a new dish, let's call it chips with mushy peas, and I put pieces of Scotch bonnet pepper in it, put it into Sainsbury's and said, right, mushy peas and chips. I'm sure people would go, but mushy peas doesn't have Scotch bonnet pepper in it. What kind of madness is this? It's the same thing. I'm not being respectful to the true recipe of mushy peas. I'm just doing whatever I like and calling it by a name, which it doesn't come from that. That's not part of the original recipe. I can say I've been inspired by it, it's got my twist, but I can't say it is so.
Can I read you a letter that was in the Times this week on this issue? Because I think you might find it interesting. The letter is entitled, "No Need for a Food Fight Over Jerk Cooking."
Okay.
It says, "Sir, Dawn Butler, the Shadow Equalities Minister, should check her facts before accusing Jamie Oliver of culturally appropriating the term jerk. The word and technique belong to the indigenous Quechua people of Peru and adjacent areas in South America. No doubt the Quechua are pleased that some of their culture has spread to other parts of the world and that one of their words has entered the English language via Spanish. I do not think they would be so churlish as to accuse the Jamaicans of cultural appropriation.
Okay. Now, I'm not aware of these group of people that you're talking about, but this goes a lot deeper because Jamaicans, I mean, there's a whole history of how Jamaican people got to Jamaica in the first place. And part of our culture is from the Spanish, and it is from Africa, and it is from India. So it's a melting pot of people who've come together to do this. I think at the end of the day, if it's that insulting to that many people, for me, I would feel bad.
Well, according to
I've done something.
According to this Mr. or Mrs. Davies of Manchester, who wrote the letter, jerk, the word jerk, and the technique to jerk chicken or whatever it may be, it started with the indigenous Quechua people of Peru. It was not something that the Jamaicans created themselves. It came from the Quechua people of Peru and was taken to Jamaica.
I'd like to know where she got that information from, what the source is for that, because my parents are from Jamaica, and the history I know of Jamaica, you could have jerk from different places. For example, you've got jollof rice from Ghana, you've got jollof rice from Nigeria. I mean, who's to say where it came from? So it's kind of a similar thing. So for me, I would say with regards to the jerk, we have a jerk that originates from Jamaica. I'm not saying the other group of people, they don't have a jerk as well. You know, we're not saying we have the monopoly. I mean, you've got pizza from America, you've got pizza from Italy. I'm not saying who's got the monopoly, but I'm saying we have a jerk that is important to us and that we would like to be respectful to. If you're going to say you're making it. So, you know, if I'm going to make an Indian curry, you get out an Indian curry book, you look at, right, what are you supposed to put in it? You don't just fling anything in and just say, if you want to say inspired by, that's fine. But if you're going to say it is it, then be respectful to the recipe.
So, for example, a non-Indian chef to produce for example, a curry cookbook and to put different things in the curries, would that be acceptable, or is that cultural appropriation as well?
I mean, this discussion could go on forever, because with cultural appropriation, that's a whole different discussion in itself. And with regards to the book as well, I mean, if they want to put different things in it and they say, I've been inspired by my trip to India or whatever, then that's their choice.
But is this not the point? Nothing is actually pure. Everything is a heady mix of influences, and we shouldn't get too caught up on it.
Yes, but if you're saying something is so, if somebody say, I'm going to make a cup of English tea, and they use, I don't know, honey to sweeten it, or something that an English person just wouldn't, it would be annoying, because